I like that. Trying out some different music to try to soothe the background. Let me know if it's too loud or anything, because all I can really see is the numbers, but it doesn't sound too bad on my end. So, at least that's what I'm hoping for. Um, so I really well, let me do this real quick. Let me do this real quick. Mic check. Oh yeah, that sounds good. Cool. Okay. So I wanted to talk about the mindset of playing Commander. Now, I've only been playing for a couple years now. I think less than 2 years. Overall, Magic the Gathering Commander as a whole is such a fun experience to me. It's a time that I get to go out and hang out with friends that I don't see at work, and we just get to crack jokes and just bond. And then with the game, I just get to strategize, and it's like an exercise for my brain almost. It's kind of almost like playing a sport where it's like exercise, but you don't really realize you're exercising. It is a very, very fun time that I usually always enjoy. However, recently, I've kind of been in a slump. And I want to preface it that what I'm about to talk about is solely been my past experiences, but I wanted to talk about it because I don't know if anybody else goes through this, but I figured if I do, surely there's somebody else out there who does go through this. But I have recently I've not had a good mindset when playing Commander. And it's really been bothering me lately. So much so that I decided to talk about it to the internet. But I'm hoping that at the end of this conversation, this one-way conversation, that maybe somebody else can relate and know that they're not alone in, struggling with this. So what's been happening with me is for the past, I'd argue like 3 weeks, I have not been having a good time in Commander, and it's really just been when the game has not been going my way. Now, I am usually a competitive player. I usually go into games, I want to win. Like everybody, you play to win, right? But you're also there to have a good time, and that's a fun thing to try and balance. But recently, it's like as soon as like a little thing doesn't go my way, something just switches my brain, and I just go into like a pity party. You can call it salt, call it depression, whatever you want to call it. It just like that. And I don't scoop in games, but I will, I have a friend who calls it drunk driving, and I will just self-sabotage my game where it's like, well, I'm not going to win, so like, what's the point? And I'll just like tap all my mana at the end of my turn. Like, I'll purposely throw creatures at something knowing they're going to die, and I'll just throw the game for myself. And I don't know why that's been a problem for me this past few weeks. And before anyone starts like spouting off, like maybe it's my pod or anything of that nature, I want to preface it that the pod I have is always at least 2 other people, and they are phenomenal. Both are extremely good at the game. They're an absolute joy to be around. They always make me smile, make me laugh. They're encouraging. Nobody's like a spike player. So there's none of that involved. It's all more like I'm beating myself up because I want to play at a certain level and I hold myself to a certain standard. And so I think it's because if my deck isn't working the way I want it to, it's almost like my way of just beating myself up. And that's not right. It's not healthy. And it's not even like, so get my thoughts in order here. It is when deck building, like obviously you make a deck to do a certain function. And I always tell other people and tell myself, you want your deck to do the thing. And honestly, most of my decks will do the thing. And if they don't do the thing, it's because it was stopped. And that's okay. It's what the whole point of the game is supposed to be. It's meant to be stopped. But for some reason, when I get into the pod and into the game set, as soon as that thing stops happening, I'm just like, screw it. Like, game's over. Like, what's the point? It really, really has not been fun. And I say that too, because it's also like, it's not even when my deck does something. Because I think of another example. I was playing a game where it was like we were kind of in a locked board state. No one could really make a move. And really it was just down to one of my friends who was arguably in the lead. And I was arguably in second. And then there was third and fourth, obviously. And I got up to grab a drink or something as someone was doing their turn. But when I came back, the other two players they'd almost been like, hey, this is kind of taking a long time. Like, let's just kind of speed the game up. And they kind of started feeding resources into the guy in first place. And that just kind of set me off. I was like, it was again, just that snap. And I was like, oh, like, great. They've just kind of handed the game to this person. I don't like that. Let me be pouty and salty about it. And I just like threw the game away too. And that wasn't healthy. And then later, another example that I've like just snapped and cracked was I was playing a new deck. I just made it. Been working really hard on it. Like ordered cards and like really been in Mox Field, goldfishing. Played it for the very first time. In the first like 6 turns, just got absolutely demolished. And by that I mean I got 3 lands off by turn 1, 2, and 3. And then turn like 5, 6, and 7, just 3 counter spells in a row. And that just like killed me. Which I think that would kill anybody in a game of Commander. But I mean, it killed me mentally. Like, I didn't want to play anymore because that was just so devastating to my mental state. And I hated afterwards the fact that I was affected by this. Like I mentioned earlier, I used to be kind of proud of myself in that I could persevere in a game, that I would do like, you know, the anime trope, like I fight to the end no matter what. You know, we don't scoop. We do every little thing to try and like you keep fighting till the end. That's how I used to be. And then just these little things have really just something shifted in my mind. And it's like, that's no longer the case anymore. I give up easier. And I don't like that. So if you've gone through something like that, I'd love to hear about it. I'm not really here to tell you what a good solution is outside of my solution right now is just recognizing that there's a problem with my mindset. I'm going into these games at first optimistic, but at the first sign of something bad happening, I'm taken out of it. And I hope it's not dragging the pod down with my friends, but you know, I'm sure it's not fun for them either. So, you know, obviously you don't want to be a detriment to them, but honestly, I've been a detriment to myself at the end of the day. And that's what I really want to address. So I think recognizing it is a really big thing. Knowing like, hey, this is not okay. What's going on? What's the problem? And then once it's recognized, I'm trying to find what's actually triggering it. And if I can identify those triggers, it's not necessarily avoiding them. It's how do I respond to those triggers now instead of just giving up? Or even if I have that inclination, that feeling of giving up or being salty or angry or whatever it is, what's a healthier alternative? How can I start turning my mind back to what I really want in the game of Commander? Because I think everybody, when they go into a game of Commander, everybody wants to have fun. I think that's the number one thing. We all, and that's super tropey and silly, but I think that's the number one reason we play is this is just to have fun. It's fun to play. It's fun to hang out. It's just fun. And I think that should be the first thing. And I think maybe that's what I need to do is go into these games, and if something happens, I just need to remember that number one rule of, am I having fun? And if I'm not having fun, remind myself why I'm there, and that winning's not everything, doing the thing with my deck is not everything. It is, I'm here to have fun. And I think I just need to remind myself of that when those triggers happen. Number two, if I can remind myself to have fun, I think that's when I need to get back into the practicing of, okay, we're here to have fun, but we're also here to try and win, right? We're here to like be competitive. We're here to be better players. We're here to, sharpen our skills, sharpen our strategies. Like when I play the game, like I love the mind exercise of, trying to get an engine going, trying to make these game mechanics work to my advantage, trying to politic and get people to kind of play against one another. Like there's a lot happening on multiple levels. And I think I need to, it's almost like going to the gym. Like I almost need to exercise to failure, right? Like some people, when they go to the gym and they're lifting a weight, you do so many reps and sometimes you go to failure. And I think that's going to be my second goal is try and recognize why I'm here. I'm having fun. But number two, let's start exercising these mechanics. How can I make the best of the situation? Try and remove the winning part out of it. But hey, what can I do with the pieces I have to make the most optimal play based on the board state? I think that should be my second goal. I don't have a third. Normally there's three things in this kind of stuff, but I just have the two. So I want to have fun, and I'm going to try and exercise to failure in the healthy manner. So this is kind of a shorter stream. I want it to be short. I will probably be uploading this to YouTube tonight, but I hope if somebody else sees this, I hope that it helps you to know like, hey, you're not alone. If you're kind of going through this slump of just not having fun, not having a good time in Commander, things aren't going your way, you haven't won a game in weeks, like it's okay. Like even I know, sitting back retrospectively, objectively, it's okay, it's gonna be fine. I think it falls back to that number one rule of we're here to play Commander, but we're here to have fun. Like having fun is the number one thing. We're not here to win every single game of Commander. But I hope this helps. If you are going through this or you've like struggled with it, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment if you so choose. If you have any tips or tricks and how you kind of get your mind back on track, get out of these salty moods or these valleys that you're going through, I'd love to talk about it. So till then, I will probably chat with you later. Ta-ta for now.